What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Got a good guest on today, straight out of the Cape, Boston area. Done a bunch of time, man. Been through some shit, lived a crazy life, but he can tell his story better than I can tell his story. So tell the people who you are, where you're from, and let's talk about you.
Man, my name is Matthew Tottenham. I'm the host of the W Number podcast. I grew up on the Cape. I've been living in Boston for the last couple years. I spent my life in between Connecticut, Boston, the Cape. So I bounced around, but I spent most of my life inside a prison, behind the wall, juvenile detention centers, maximum security prison, living the hard knock life, bro. And that's what it's been like for me.
I know you end up doing, how much time do you do altogether?
So I did 17 years in adult state prison, and I did 3.5 years in juvenile detention.
Juvenile detention. Let's talk about your life. What's your life like growing up on the Cape? A lot of people might not know what the Cape is.
Yeah,
so it's all a bunch of white people and rich white folks. That's what I used to think. But so tell us about your life.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you off, Chad. So the Cape it's got a lot of immigrants. So it's got a lot of Jamaicans, Dominicans, Brazilians, big Brazilian community. But you know what? For the most part, what you're gonna see when you go to the Cape, you're gonna see a rich white community, because it's behind the fences, behind the rows of bushes, that you're gonna see the real Cape, which is like Fresh Holes projects and the lower income communities, the blue collar communities and shit like that. There is a lot of rich people. It's a they got Chatham, one of the richest towns in the entire country. A lot of celebrities go there, dude, like Jerry Springer, fucking all these people live down there, man. What's his face? The president lives on Nantucket, you know what I mean? Martha's Vineyard, all these places. So it's like, it's a huge rich community, but there is that side of the Cape that's not as much, it's not noticed by the public, it's behind the fences. And that's where I grew up. I grew up in a blue collar community. My family was poor. We didn't really have much growing up. I sold drugs and I fought and stole cars, and I was robbing people and doing all the shit that inner city kids do. And I ended up around inner city kids once I got committed to DYS at 13 years old, and it was on from there. Get involved in gangs. I was in the city a lot, going to Brockton, Taunton, fucking Boston, all over the place, man.
So you're a minor and you get involved in a gang. You getting involved in a gang there on the Cape?
There is gangs on the Cape, gangs and disciples and stuff like that, but I think they're mostly fugazi, bro. If you ask me, dude, like they're not like legit gangs like they have in the city and shit. So I didn't really fuck with those type. I didn't fuck with them right like that. But I did run with them inside of detention centers and stuff like that, because as a little kid and you go in there at such a young age, people talk about bullying in schools and bullying. It's just like the bullying that you will receive when you go to a youthful offender program where kids are from 13 to 21 years old is on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? So when I first got in, I went to a youthful offenders program. It was the long-term program, probably one of the longest term programs in the States, called Project Leap. And it was savage. It was a savage life, bro. The staff were bringing in heroin, bro, fucking blanket parties. I got held underwater until I sucked water up into my chest while the staff sat there and laughing at me. And they didn't even try to save me, bro. What saved me was just my own natural reflexes. I coughed the water up on the shore, but yeah.
So this is going on inside the detention center? They're kind of half-ass drowning you?
Oh yeah, man. There was a little pond at this program that they brought us down there to swim, and being around kids that are there, like gang leaders and just influential young kids doing from the age of 21 down. So you got real like adults, young adults in there with me as a 13-year-old kid, and these kids are savage. When you're a young kid and you got power over others because you're bigger or stronger, or you've been involved in things that make you think that you're some type of tough or whatever it is, but it formed me, bro. It made me who I am, bro. Like I got told when I was in there by this kid, he came and talked to me, man. And he's like, he seen what was going on and shit. And I was fighting back. I was sticking up for myself. And, I was so small. There wasn't really much I could do. I grew up. I flowered as an adult. I got a lot bigger. But he came and talked to me, and he was like, Maddie, if anybody ever calls you a bitch or a punk, bro, he's like, you swing first and ask questions later. And I lived my life by that motto from that day forward. And it got me in a lot of trouble. But, it saved me in that setting and environment. Yeah.
What was your life like growing up at home? Your mother, your father home? Who's there?
Yeah, my mother and father were together. They've been married. They're still married today. They're great people, bro. My mother is a beast, bro. She's been there with me through this whole process, man. Juvenile, visiting me every week, bringing me hygiene and soap and stuff like that I need to wash my ass and take care of myself. She's a major supporter, bro. Like when the staff were beating me up in Goss 2, she came up and screamed on the superintendent, told him he had a little dick, and fucking, punked him off and shit in front of the whole fucking, all the administrative staff and stuff like that. So she's a rider, bro. She's been there for me, and she's got my back no matter what.
I know you had an older brother too, right? That you kind of looked up to.
Yeah, my brother Chris, God rest his soul. He passed away when I was 11 years old. He drowned in the Housatonic River. He got hit with a boat that tried to save him. They came over to try to save him, and the boat came a little too close and hit him with their the blades in the boat. Yeah,
that's wild, man. What was it? I mean, did it devastate you as a kid? That was your role model, right?
Yeah, bro. Yep. He had a scholarship to UConn. He was going to go play basketball. My other brother Keith was already in UConn. He had a scholarship to soccer, and now he's a nurse. He was my role model, bro. He was big, bro, and they called him Jolly Green Giant. He was a big ass dude. He had the basketball body. You know what I mean? He was a dog, bro, and he grew up in one of the worst ghettos in the United States, Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's where both my older brothers grew up, and he was a tough kid, bro, and he used to live with me down in the Cape. He lived in my room, and he taught me the codes of the streets, and he showed me what life was like, and prepared me and stuff like that. And when I lost him, it was a big hit. It fucked my family up. My father became a vicious alcoholic, and there was a lot of confusion inside my house.
Sorry to hear that, man. So now, you're out here in the street, your brother passes away. Is this when you kind of get involved in a life of crime? Like, what are you doing as a youngster? What are you doing that sends you into, jail and juvenile jails?
So I started drinking and smoking a lot of weed and partying like that. I wouldn't come home for weeks at a time. My parents, it was funny because my whole neighborhood, everybody would be like, yo, your parents are all looking for you. Everybody knew my parents because they'd be pulling up, where's my kids, And I had a twin brother growing up. I had my brother Ryan Tottenham, my twin brother. Matter of fact, let me shout him out real quick. He just got out of prison after 13 years last Wednesday, and he's going to move in with his wife in Pennsylvania. He's in a program right now for a little bit until he acclimates, and then he's going to go down there and shit. So,
13 in the state or 13 in the feds?
13 in the max. So he was in Shirley Max the whole time, yeah.
So what's your life like after you get out of that group home or the juvenile detention center? You're out on the street. Do you have any plans like, man, I want to have a good life, or are you like, yo, it's balls to the wall?
Man, it was balls to the walls, bro. When I got out of the detention center, I ran. So I didn't leave because I was doing good. I got over on the system. I played like I was crazy. Not for nothing. I was tripping on acid when I got locked back up for the last time, and they told me that I was going to be committed and stay until the age of 18. I was 16 and a half. I wasn't trying to do that, so I played like I was crazy. I went to a mental health facility, and they let me walk out the door after I left there. So I was like, you know what? Bang, I'm out of here, dude. I didn't give them no chances to come and grab me and lock me back up. So I ended up going on the run, and I started running my own crack house, bro. I started selling crack, and then after shit hit the fan there, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
Let me stop you. We're going to talk about the crack house, right?
Okay, yeah.
You're running your own crack house. You're a youngster. You're on the Cape. I mean, are there really people out there like that in the hood? Are you ever in danger, or is it just a bunch of white people coming to the crack spot?
Man, there's all different races on the Cape. There's gangsters. There's motorcycle dudes, like tough guys. Man, it's not all a bunch of lames, bro. Like there is those dudes, like those upper class white kids that pretty much never seen anything in their life, and they're trying to make in the game. But that's not my experience. That's not how I lived. And there is definitely danger, bro. There's people robbing people out there. I was one of them. And there's people with guns and knives, just like everywhere else. People were getting shot in my area. People were getting stabbed in my area. It's just I was the shark and they were the minnows, dude. You know what I mean? So I was out there moving.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, obviously, people that know my story, I was a pretty big crack dealer, right? Not proud of that at all, but I know what comes with that life, man. What was your life like when you were there? Did you feel like you were the king, like you had all the power? I mean, there's there's chicks coming in there, people that are addicted, selling you stolen property. There's women coming in and out that do whatever you ask them to do, for a couple bags. What's your life on the Cape selling crack? What's it like? Do you feel like you're the king?
Oh yeah, dude. That's how I felt my whole life anyway. I still feel kind of like that, not to be immodest or anything, because people that know me, they do know that like I am a modest dude. I'm very down to earth. I'm real, and I'm not really walking around like fucking pumping my chest out like that, but I feel like that mentally all the time. I feel like that's how you have to believe in yourself 100% no matter what you do, even if it's selling crack or if it's trying to make it in the real world, living your life the way you're supposed to. And when I was doing that, that's how I looked at it. I view myself as number one always, bro. So yeah, I didn't fear anything when it came to people robbing me. I felt like if they did come rob me, I'm there waiting for you, bro. Try it. You know what I mean? But that's how they pump it up in your head in the rap, like, in the rap genre. That's the mindset, bro. All gangster, that's why people get killed a lot. You know what I mean? I feel like it's all influenced by outside factors, and it's not taught in the home. You know what I mean? It's stuff you learn out in the streets and through music and stuff like that. And that's how I learned. I learned in the streets and through music, because I didn't live at my house since the age of 16. I got kicked out of my house. Me and my father fought a lot, fist fights, and we didn't get along. So I was out in the streets since I was 16 years old, whether it was in Boston on the streets or on the Cape on the streets or in DYS living, the rugged life. But I would stick people up. Anybody selling coke in my area, I would call them up like, hey man, I'm looking for a new connect. Let me try your shit out real quick. Let me grab like a half ounce. I'll come see you. And then when you show up, I'll knock you out and take your shit and then fucking, embarrass you in front of whoever you're with and then take off with all my friends. And I had a lot of friends, dude. So,
You're knocking people out in the street. How big are you, man?
I'm 6 feet tall. 200, probably 15 pounds right now. But when I was a kid, I was smaller than that, and I just always thought of myself as dinosaur, bro. You know what I mean? Like I didn't.
Just kind of on some wild shit.
Yeah, man. How else are you supposed to think of yourself? You know what I mean? Like
a lot of people think, man, white dude's selling crack. Hell no, this dude's cat, man. I don't believe that, right? You ever hear that?
Man, I hear all kinds of bullshit, bro. It is funny because, everybody who wants to act like they know, right? How about this? Because they haven't done it themselves and they haven't lived the life themselves, they haven't been through what I've been through, so they couldn't imagine somebody else doing it, right? So in their head, they're like, oh, he could have done that, because they don't have the balls to do what I did. You know what I mean? So it's as simple as that. That's how I look at
it. So you're in the crack house. You listening to the 10 Crack Commandments by any chance?
Yeah, that's definitely Biggie, man. He was out there, dude. So yeah, I definitely listened to 10 Crack Commandments, man. I didn't get high on my own supply until the end, and then I did. I got very high on my own supply. I turned into a fucking crackhead. And that's just what it is, bro. And that's how you'll see, like, what you see is what you get with me. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm going to keep it 100%, even if it means looking stupid. I definitely turn into a crackhead, bro. You spend enough time around the barbershop, you're going to get a haircut. I mean, it's not with everybody, but it was with me. I have an addictive nature. I was drinking heavily the whole time I was selling coke, and I would, roll woo bangers. I thought that was cool, and fucking, I never really thought about it like that. One night, one of my customers was like, hey, Matt, you got to try this shit, bro, blah, blah, blah. I got it all the time from them. Yo, your shit's the best. You got to try it. You got to try it. But when it came down to it, I didn't do it most of the time. And this one time I did do it. It gave me a bell ringer. I felt like throwing up. I actually beat the guy up because I thought he was trying to kill me, and I was freaking out. And fucking, that was the beginning of something that I never even knew, because after that happened, I didn't do it for a little while. You know what I mean? I went to Georgia and I was looking around for Percocets, looking around for Oxys and stuff like that, and I couldn't find anything. I run into this dude named Red at the train station in Buckhead, and he takes me into the hood to buy some crack, and that's what he's like. That's the only thing I could get around here. So I went in there, I bought a little slab of crack, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just party with this tonight. After I partied with it that night, I got a true taste of what I thought, might be my future. And I thought, that's what I did, bro. Yeah.
How old were you at the time when you tried to, you hit the crack pipe?
17 and a half.
17 and a half years old. Big kid. Played some sports, probably. Your brothers, all your family played sports. And now you're smoking crack. How do you feel after you do that, though, the first time? You feel in your head like, damn, why did I do that?
Hell yeah, bro. I sat there and watched my customers and the addicts who came to buy drugs off me, grab their dicks and go, oh, Maddie, bro, please, Maddie, and I used to think about them like, these dudes, bro, like I was disgusted. You know what I mean? Like that a person could get that low. And, you know, honestly, I never became like that, but I definitely blew all my money on it. And I was partying fucking every night, and I was not living how I was supposed to. So yeah, I looked at myself in a little bit of a bad light after I tried that shit. Yeah.
Being so young, that's why I ask you, you know, I mean, I wonder if young dudes look in the mirror and be like, yo, what am I doing with my life? Like, my life is spiraling out of control for real. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to ask you. So, I mean, how long are you in the crack game? I mean, you start getting high, you leave shortly after?
So I was selling coke and crack, and I had that house going. You know, I had people that worked in the meat packaging factory bringing me $400 boxes of meat. You know, everybody in my house paid me rent, which I used to, I thought, pay back the guy until the IRS shut down the house. All that's long story. And then when that happened with the IRS, my boy, who I went to pick up my stuff that night, and I had this kid drive my car. He did not have a license, but he told me he did. We got pulled over, and long story short, they asked some questions about me selling coke and crack, and showed him a couple pictures, but nothing legit, nothing like hand to hand, no legit evidence. You know what I mean? So he just clammed up and said he didn't know nothing, but he called me later that night after I bailed him out and said, you know, Maddie, these dudes are asking questions about me and shit. So I took off. I had my mother call the airport or whatever, get me a plane ticket to Atlanta, Georgia. I moved down there with my running partner's brother and his mother in Alpharetta. And then when I got down there, I had them grab me. I used the money and got a bachelor pad, paid the rent every month, $720. It was decently cheap. You know what I mean? At the time, it was a nice ass place in Roswell, Georgia. And that was going good for a little while. You know, I was partying, doing all that shit that you do down there. And it's definitely a party scene in Atlanta. And then one night, this kid Dre, who was infected with AIDS, got into a fight in my house with his uncle over some shit to do with taking his medication for it. And little did I know, I didn't know any of this at the time, that this was the reason why the fight was going on or any of that. And he went from in the apartment to outside, back into the apartment, and the Chinese lady who lived next door called the cops on us. And the cops came, they arrested all of us. I had a little bit of weed in the house. They gave me a $2,500 bail for possession of weed. And I used a bail bondsman, bailed out. And I ended up moving in with one of my friends, this dude, Ant. And I lived in his basement for a little while. And then one Thanksgiving Day, I came up to visit my mother, and fucking, I ended up smoking this dude with a 2x4. I got into a fight with him when I was drunk. And I ended up going back. They raided my house the next day looking for me, and that was the first good night of sleep I had in a long, long time.
You end up getting arrested in Georgia, man. One of the most dangerous prison systems in the country is in Georgia. Georgia and Alabama, I say it all the time. Mm-hmm. What was it like to be in jail there? Did you make it to the Fulton County jail?
So I never made it to the Fulton County jail because I bailed out too quick. I was in the police station there, but, you know, it's a little jail. It's like a county jail inside the police station. Everybody calls you Slim Shady and shit. I had to kind of put that on. I stopped that real quick. I'm like, dude, I'm not Slim Shady, bro. Don't call me Slim Shady. And immediately they could see how I moved and like how I carried myself. They respected me a little bit. And as far as I could tell, they did. And, you know, they treated me with respect. And that's how it went. I was only there for 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And before I bailed out, but, you know, everybody talked about Fulton County Jail like it was like a fucking, you know, kill zone. That's where you go. Like, you know, that it was a deadly place, you know. So
definitely not a place you want to be, right? So you make it back here, you smoke dude with the 2x4. That's because you end up with his wife, right?
Yeah, you know, he had caught me with his wife a couple years before I even went down there. You know, I was a young kid. I was over there partying. I was at their daughter's party, and I got into a big fight with my own girl who like left me at the party. And so she starts cleaning the blood off, and oh, honey this, honey that. And before you know it, there was something else. And I didn't even know she wasn't a teenager. She looked very young to me. Like I was a teenager. I thought she was a teenager, at least in her very young 20s. She was a blonde, you know, blue eyes, little braids and shit. So I'm like, you know, oh, this is cool. And then next thing you know, I got a gun to my head. So I'm like, you know, I told the dude to fucking shoot me and all this other stuff. His wife grabs the gun. It looked like a cartoon gun, like one of those big long barrel 22s. Like you shoot, you pull the trigger and a flag comes out the end. It says bang. So I'm like, dude, the fuck is that, dude? Shoot me, bro. And the wife grabs it like, no, run, you know. And I grabbed the bottle of booze, the VSOP on the counter, and little K-cut Klonopins that she was feeding me. And I was like, yeah, I grabbed my boot and took off with the rest of the people at the party. After that, it was kind of shut down. So
now you end up going to state prison in Massachusetts. What do you get arrested for?
I got arrested for a host of different things, man. One of them being the assault and battery with the deadly or dangerous weapon with the 2x4, stealing cars, check frauds, and you know, I'm trying to think right now. So many things is fucking long.
Important. Let me ask you this: how much time do you get? You get a state bid?
6 years. I started off with 2.5 years for the 2x4, and then they kind of just like threw all the little charges on a plea bargain and threw it right underneath that. And when I was in there, I ended up knocking out a cop, breaking his jaw, breaking his nose, gave him a concussion, 27 stitches on his upper lip, a busted knee, all that. The dude was this big ass friggin', you know.
Let's see the paperwork on that, bro, because some people are like, come on, man.
I will show you. Yeah, I got you.
It's all good, man. Keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, so yeah, I got all my paperwork, especially if you want to see it, bro. Fact, I mean, I feel like I shouldn't I shouldn't have to, but anyways, right? So we're moving forward. So I get time for I'm gonna go to trial for that, but they shipped me out of the county a couple times. So when I first got there, I see my friend. He was over in the hole throwing up like he was doing the skywriting, like, Maddie, come down here and hang out and shit. So I'm like, all right, I'll go down there and hang out. And I get lugged to the hole, go down there. You know, I end up fighting the move team, and we end up getting a bunch of bullshit. And they ship us out. They ship me to Worcester County, so that's like gangland, bro, right? So I go over there, and I'm a young kid. I hadn't been in a prison that, you know, had gangs like that at the time. And so as soon as I walk in the door and I see all the white dudes congregating, and, you know, all these different dudes, you know, the Spanish dudes, the black dudes, everybody's got their shit going on. And I just liked how they were moving, man. Like they were breaking each other off, holding each other down. They sat together, they ate together, did all that. And so I'm like, you know what? What's up, man? Like, what you guys got going on? Let's do this, bro. Like, I want to be part of this shit, bro. And I guess they liked how I wanted to be part of it. I'm assuming they saw a crash dummy in me, but that's not the case, bro. You know what I mean? I've never been a crash dummy. I've always been more of a leader than a follower. And, you know, there's always that little bit of follower in a young kid when they go to prison, when they see all this shit going on and shit. So there's a little bit of that involved, and I'm not gonna lie. You know, I wanted to impress people. I wanted to make a name, and I got down with these dudes and ended up putting in work. And the first thing that they told me, lace up one day. I was on probation, and they're telling me, you know, lace up. There's work to put in, and this is how you get your numbers. And boom, I go in there. I crushed this dude, bro, and it was me, a Spanish dude, a black dude. They put us all together because it was a black dude that had to go. I guess he had phony charge or bad charges or something like that. And we went in there, took him out, and almost killed that fucking dude. Yeah.
You get more time for that one too?
Nah, man. They honestly didn't even know. Like, yeah, another dude went in there later that night, and I had to take him out again because they didn't catch this whole thing. Yeah.
So you end up with that bid, right? How much time do you do straight? Because I know you talked about 17 years. How much did you do straight?
So I did 6 years the first one, and then I got out for 8 months, and I went back for 12 years.
So on that first one, you involved in any type of like violence as far as riots, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I when I first got up there, about 30 days into it, I got drunk one night, and, you know, Susan Baranowski had been all single cells. And there was a lot of older cats there from, like, you know, they moved a lot of the like lower key dudes there from Walpole when they made 2 maxes, right? So there was the Walpole max, and there was a Susan Baranowski max. So they had a lot of the lower key dudes over there, but then they also had some serious ass dudes over there. You know what I mean? But it just wasn't popping like I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? I wanted the bullshit. I wanted like the chaos and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to go to Walpole. So I fought the move team. I wanted to go over there because I knew a bunch of people over there. All the younger guys were over there, and, you know, it was mostly older dudes over here, you know, more mature guys, and I was very immature at the time. And so I go over there, and I mean, sorry, I fight the move team. I'm thinking I'm going to go over there, but they told me not because it's too dangerous for a person on a transfer number. Because, so I skipped a little piece. I was up there on a transfer number when I first got there because I was a county inmate that I was one of 3 county inmates that got sent to the max on a transfer number in the history of Massachusetts for bad behavior. So because of all the bullshit that I was involved in the county, they sent me to a maximum security facility to finish my county sentence. And when I was up there, that's when it all started. You know, I fought the move team, basically set the tone for how it was going to be when I got there and shit. And after that, they did the double bunking, and it was wild up there, bro. Yeah.
So you do the 6 years, you get out. Once you get out, you catch 12 years. What's the 12 years for?
So the 12 years was for an armed home invasion. These 2 kids tried to kill my brother. These 2 people tried to kill my brother. And someone called me one night and they were like, "Yo, Maddie, you gotta go check. You gotta call your brother and check on him because these 2 are saying they sold him a hot shot." So I'm like, "Oh, what, dude?" I call him. Now my brother had been running the streets getting high and shit, and so I call my brother and I'm like, "Brian, what's up, dude? You know, these dudes are saying they sold you a hot shot, bro." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I opened up the bag and I seen it look like rat pellets in there or something." And so I fucking he didn't do it. And I'm like, well, now these dudes did that to you. And it's like, I feel like that's major disrespect, bro. Like, why would you even buy dope off these 2? You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into that because, you know, it's my brother. He was on the streets running, whatever. So we go to the house and I pistol whipped the kid like 100 times. And there was a girl jumped on my brother's back. I smoked her too.
Smoked the chick too.
Yeah, honestly, bro, that's not my thing, dude. Like, I didn't want that. I had my girlfriend there to take care of that situation, but it was like she was getting gangster, dude. She jumped on him. She was more like a man. Like, honestly, she sagged her pants. She was like a dude, bro. Like, she was one of them like husky chicks that fought and shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you get 12 years. Now you're on your way back to prison. What's going through your mind? You know, you went in young. You did the 6-piece. You got in trouble while you were in there. Get out. You're not out even a year. And now you're on your way back for 12 years. What's going through your mind?
So what's going through my mind was I was very angry, bro. I felt like life had did me a disservice. I was not prepared to go home when I went home the first time. When I was up there, my entire 6-year sentence was chaos. They didn't offer me any type of reentry help. They didn't give me programs. They didn't prepare me at all. Like, it was just, you know, education of a felon. Really, you know what I mean? Like, this is convict code. That's all I knew. You know what I mean? Like, how to behave in prison. If anybody calls you a bitch or a punk, or if you're a rat or a skinner, you get taken out. It's like, that's how I went home thinking. It's like, if I saw a skinner on the streets, I'd beat him up. You know what I mean? It was like that, dude. Like, in my head, I couldn't differentiate from prison to the streets. Like, you get so lost in the politics up there. Like, you forget you're ever even going home. So, like, when I got home, it was kind of like I was lost a little, you know?
We talk about politics and violence. You know, you ever had any violence committed on you while you were in prison?
Not really, bro. No, I mean, I did. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, I did. You know, when I first got up, when I was young, I was in Worcester County, and I got into there was a war. I was a hooligan member. I told you I got down with those white gang members. So they were called the Hooligan Brotherhood, and there was a war that popped off. The Latin Kings, Nietas, Vice Lords, Outlaws, all the 5-point gangs.
And this is when you're a youngster.
Yeah, I was 19 years old when this happened, and they were coming by my door all day with blades, telling me to check in. If I didn't check in, you know what time it is, blah blah blah. I threw piss in one of their faces, flooded my neighbor's cell out, and fucking, you know, did all the stupid shit, you know, just because I'm not taking that, dude. Like, that's not who I am. And my cellie's in there talking about, Maddie, let's just check in. I made him a big cup of coffee. I'm like, here you go, bro. If I die, you're dying too. And he's like, oh, you know, he's a little bitch, bro, right? So later that night, they popped us out for AA showers, and they popped out the shot caller of the Latin Kings. You know, his name's Will Vega. He's dead now, so I could say his name. He was green lighted as a rat, so it's like, dude's no good, so fuck him. But he came down the stairs with the towel over his arm and a banger out and shit, and like, he had the towel over the banger, so he goes and puts the stuff down on the table. He starts walking back towards my cell. I had come out to point out the dudes that had pegged their doors, calling them into my cell, because I had seen who pegged their doors earlier that night when that shit popped off. So I went out there telling them to come to my cell. They're telling me to take off my shoes, like go to the shower. Like I'm gonna get naked for them real quick. Hold on, let me set myself up and bend over for you too. So I'm like, you know, I tell him come to my cell. This dude comes down the stairs. He's a bruiser, big ass Spanish dude, right? And look at the Latin Kings. Like I have good friends, more busy, bro. A bunch of dudes that are Latin Kings that are like really good friends of mine. And all these people know me, know what I'm about, know my whole story, and they'll attest to that shit right in the comments. And I guarantee you, you're gonna have a lot of guys showing up from Massachusetts to hold me down, bro. And that's a fact. So, anyways, this dude comes down the stairs and he starts walking over towards me like he's got a knife in his hand and all that. And I tell him, I'm like, come in my cell with that, you fucking bitch. And I tried to slide past him because he tried to get in between me and my cell because my cellie was in there, and I'm thinking he's gonna stop him from getting jumped. He'll keep it on the tier so the cops could respond real quick or something. I don't know what he was thinking, right? The dude's a clown and a rat. Anyways, right? So I try to slide past him. He cuts me across the ribs. I'm on my heels. We go into the cell, and because I was off balance when I was sliding past him to get into my cell, he got me in the back. He pulled my shirt forward like that and had me down. Boom, hits me in the back once. But the knife hit one of my ribs on my left side over here, and it bent. It was a pick, so it hit my rib. I think it was the knife that, unfortunately, it was a knife I used to own, bro. And I let one of my so-called brothers, who was a vicious lame, bro, who was like sweating the nuts of one of these other dudes, and was like, "Here, you can hold my knife," like, right. And so I ended up getting hit with my own knife.
You're stabbed with your own knife in prison. Possibly lose your life.
Possibly could have lost my life if it wasn't for my rib fact. Yeah. And that's a big no. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the max, like we've very badly hurt people for giving knives to the other. You know what I mean? Like for any other race and shit. And that's just how it's a big no, bro. You don't do that. I wouldn't give a knife to my best friend. Well, yes, I would. I would give my knife to my best friend, but I wouldn't give a knife to somebody I didn't trust very, very, very much. You know what I mean? Because you never know where that knife's gonna end up, bro. So, and that was a learning lesson for me. You know what I mean? So, I get hit with my own knife, bro. So anyways, right, the dude hits me in the back, the knife bends in my rib, and I pop up. I hit him with a 2-piece very, very hard, and it put his teeth through his cheek and everything, and the dude shook it off like a bull, bro. I'm not gonna lie, the dude was a savage, and he charged me, got me to the back of my cell. He had his head in my solar plexus, and one of my feet got caught up on the stool. So I had one foot on the ground and one foot up on the stool, and I had no feet. My cellie standing there, pissed his damn pants, right? And like literally pissed his pants. You can see it on his pants and everything, right? So I'm punching this dude, hitting him like this, bro, smashing him out. And I looked up at him. I'm getting sewed up. Shit's going into my ribs, popping out my shirt, just digging me out. And I could see the blood. I'm thinking I'm getting hit, and I just can't feel it because when I got hit in the back, it just felt like a tough punch. You know what I mean? Like it felt like I got hit with a fucking hammer in my back, but it didn't feel like I got stabbed or poked or, you know what I mean? I didn't even really, it didn't feel like that. You know what I mean? It just felt like a gut punch real hard, right? And, you know, so I'm thinking it's the same thing here. He's just hitting me, and I can feel the pressure, the contact, and see the blood, but I can't feel it. So my adrenaline's pumping. So I look over at him, and I'm like, yo, bro, really? And he snapped out of it, jumped on the kid's back, fell backwards. Will hits him in the face, but because the knife's bent, it just cut the bridge of his nose. So like you pull his nose up like that, he look like fucking Mr. Piggy. But fucking so his nose, the bridge of his nose gets cut, and I swept in. I hit him when he was on top of him. I came down, I hit him with a fucking sweeper and knocked him out cold. And the knife that was in his hand, he was swinging it back like that, and it just flopped and it fell on the ground. And that's when I noticed that knife, the same handle and the same knife, like I couldn't tell at first the way it was bent. And I'm like, that's my fucking knife, bro, right? I was so tight. And then you know, the COs ran in right when I was grabbing the bed, and I was about to start booting this kid, and boom, I get this dude CO, big ass CO, bro, like Samoan dude comes in with one hand, bro, ragdolls me, bro, throws me on the bed like a ragdoll, dude. I started laughing. I'm telling my cellie, like, yo, you seen that, dude? He's like, oh, you see my nose? I'm like, bro, fuck your nose, dude. Yeah. So that was
you're in the mix. Is there ever at a point in there, you know, it's fight or flight, you're fighting. You ever come to a point where you're like, damn, man, I might die. This dude stabbed me. You ever thinking about that in the mix? Like, I got to get this dude before he kills me.
Nah. I was just thinking, I don't want to lose and look stupid, bro. Yeah.
You strike me as one of them Boston dudes that's just wild, right? Like, you care about what other people think, man. I mean, I'm trying to stay alive. I've been stabbed before in prison, so I know when dudes stab me, I'm thinking, man, I'm about to die. I'm going to try to do whatever I can to this dude before I die. You know what I mean? So anyway, after that incident, whatever, you're doing your 12 years. What's the 12 years like? Do you ever change your life? Are you still wilding out? What are you doing?
So before I touch on the 12 years and how I changed my life, right? Let me tell you why I like my view on the stabbings and shit like that. So if I had seen the bad stabbings that I had seen that I know now can happen, maybe I would have been thinking like that. But as a young kid and I hadn't seen that yet, I hadn't experienced the savage violence, like the stabbings, the way that they really happen, dude, the way they go down, and been part of it myself. And stabbing people, they could get really ugly. But the way I was thinking at the time is I had never seen a prison stabbing in that light before. Whereas me, I'm just looking at it from like an entertainment value when I saw it. You know what I mean? Like I'd maybe seen two before this happened to me, and I was like, it's fun. I like watching it. But when it happened to me, I'm just thinking, I didn't have that experience yet to where I would be nervous about dying. But and now that I know what I know, man, that would have been the first thing on my mind is I gotta protect my chest, protect myself, and stay away from the tip of that knife, because yeah, it could get ugly. But yeah, so when I'm in that 12-year sentence, bro, when I first got up there, I first catch that time for the home invasion. I remember laying on my bunk one night and being like, man, I was so angry at life, bro. My face would get red hot, my ears would be hot, and I'm like, I'm gonna die because I'm so angry. My blood pressure was up. I hated everybody. I hated everything. I felt like I got my life taken away from me. I did not take responsibility for my life in any type of way. I didn't have God in my life. And I didn't have anything to really truly believe in other than myself. And that's the only thing I could rely on. And I felt like other people had did me a disservice when I got that time. Like they should have realized, but I couldn't tell the court they tried to kill me, my brother. Like that's just I'm not a snitch. I'm not gonna bring up what they did. Like, oh, they did this or they did that. It was just I know what I did. I take the time for my crime, and that's that. But like I felt like maybe they could have looked into it further on their own investigative techniques, whatever it may be. But I just didn't take responsibility for what I did, right? And I felt like it was everybody else's fault. So I made a pact with myself. I'm like, look, if I don't stop being angry like this, if I can't get rid of this anger, dude, I'm gonna end up dying from medical issues due to my anger. And I had been so mad and so stressed out that my white blood cell count depleted to 0. Like I had no white blood cells, so I was susceptible to any type of sicknesses or whatever, because like that's what stress does to you, severe stress. And so I made that pact myself, but what it really did was it pushed it below the surface. And so like everybody who see me, you could look at me and I'd be blank and wouldn't have any of those feelings, and I was like a walking skin suit, right? And I shut myself off emotionally inside, and I moved forward like Terminator, bro. Like any type of issue, it was just I'm dealing with this shit, and there's no emotions involved. I'm just crushing whatever comes in my way, and I'm gonna make this big comfortable, bro. People are gonna give me what I want because I want to live comfortable, and I'm sick of watching other people live comfortable and make money around me and not give it to me, bro. So I'm gonna get that money. I'm gonna live comfortable, and that's just what I wanted to do. So I acted in that way. Like my thoughts control my actions, as everybody's does, and people could see that, and because I was very unpredictable, so the people around me were kind of scared. Like they didn't know what to expect whenever they were around me. I could have been mad and I fucking flip out and knock one of my fucking friends out, or whatever the case may be at any given day. But I didn't. I started to like. I like the main thing I was just trying to like at first make a name, just be comfortable, all that. And as I got closer to like 33, 34 years old, I started thinking in my head, like, man, I gotta make a change for real, or my life is just gonna be hell for the rest of my life. And I did. I started to like really control my anger, control my feelings, and stop reacting and being reactive type of person. And being a little bit more emotionally intelligent, reaching inside and figuring what I'm really about, bro. Try to find out who Maddie is, you know what I mean?
Nothing wrong with that. How long ago did you get out, Maddie?
I got out in 2023.
What month?
February, I think. It was Friday the 13th. I think it was either January, February, Friday the 13th. Yeah.
You haven't been back since?
I haven't. I was out until I did a little 6-month stint, bro. I had gotten to a break. I went through a breakup with this girl that I was madly in love with, and I ended up using. I relapsed. I only used one time, but that one time was enough, bro. I ended up getting locked back up, I went to Dartmouth County. And when I was in there, they threatened to give me the rest of my life in prison for that dirty urine. They told me that they had no choice. And I told the judge, I'm like, you always have a choice, man. Look at what I've been doing. I've been working. I have my own apartment. I've been doing everything I'm supposed to.
They could have gave you life for a dirty urine?
Because I have open probation on an armed home invasion. So a violation, that's what they sentenced me on. Like it was a new crime. Like I never did the time in the first place. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. Now you've been out, you did the 6 month, you've been out, you've been clean, you're working. What are you doing? What's Matty doing in his life right now?
Well, let me tell you how things changed real quick. So when I was in that 6 month sentence, after that day in court, I went back to my cell, and I was so, when you hear that they're gonna, you're coming in next week to get sentenced, and they're thinking about giving you a life sentence, it changes things for you. You know what I mean? Like your mind will do a little backflip real quick, right? I got back to my cell and I got on my knees for the first time in my life, bro, in a real way. And I begged God, bro, to come into my heart, change my life, and show me what he's made of, bro. Show me something, dude. Show me he's there. Show me that he cares. Show me that I'm not just floating around in this fucking massive hell and nothing's going to happen for me. Like it's got to change, bro. Something has to change. I need to see you. I need to know you're real. And boom, bro. It was like a whole new world opened up to me, bro. I could feel something change inside my chest immediately, in my brain, my heart. It was just like a whole different. It's hard for me to talk about this shit without getting a little emotional, and it's hard, bro, because this is all real shit to me, and like this is real life. Like this really happened to me. You know what I mean? This isn't me getting on here in front, bro. Like this has all been a massive shit show since the time I was 13 years old. I've been a maniac. You could not recognize me from the day, even 10 years ago from today till now. You could stand me next to me. I might knock me out today for being such a pussy, bro. Because I have changed my life in such a big way. I am such a different person. And the person that I used to be until the person I am now, people might even be in the comments that know me from before, like I was a demon. I was evil, bro. And now I'm blessed, bro. My life is so different, dude. I have this channel. I'm empowering people that come home from prison. I'm pushing the change. I'm being the change myself. And it feels great, bro. It feels really good, bro.
Well, sometimes you got to become the change that you seek to see in others, right?
Yeah.
You've been through some stuff, man. Prison can affect you. I mean, 6-year bid and a 12-year bid. I mean, it can do something to you mentally and emotionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that, you slipped back into addiction, but glad that you conquered it, man.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad that you're out here. I'm glad you got your channel. Glad you're doing some good things. Anything you want to say before we get ready to go?
Yeah, man. Let me ask you some questions real quick. So, do you know any of these guys, bro?
Come on, bro. I'm interviewing you. You're on Blood on the Red. You want to ask me questions? What's up?
Yeah, absolutely,
bro. Go ahead.
Hold on. Let me change the visual background so you can see me. So, these dudes are all in the feds right now. The dude in the middle is one of my brothers. Good motherfucker, bro. Did time. We were all together up in the max. That's Sparky right there. This is Billy Brymer right here.
I got Billy Brymer out of jail. I don't know if you know that, but I did Billy Brymer.
Did you really? So
yeah,
he's out right now? Okay, good shit, bro. That's a good dude, bro, right there, bro. He's from my area, bro. Serious dude, him and his brother, I guess, in the neighborhood. What about this dude, Benny Michaud? You know Benny?
I'm not sure. Where's he at?
I think he's in Lewisburg right now.
Not sure.
What about
you got to put them pictures on your channel, bro? You got to send them to me and I'll tell you. Text them over.
Yeah, I will. What about Sully? You know Sully?
Yep, I know Sully. I do know Sully.
He's a good motherfucker. He's been on my channel, bro. These are all dudes that like spark.
I'm pretty sure I know Sully. I might have been somewhere with him. I think I know him.
He was in the Fed, so I just want to get.
Wait, listen, man. Again, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
We're gonna put the links up for your channel. I want people to go check out that W Number podcast. Maddie's doing some big things, trying to get his life together. He's actually getting his life together and doing some good things over there. So check out him in the links. If you like what we're doing, you already know what it is. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Stay tuned. We might have a part 2 with Matt.
Yo, can I shout someone out real quick before we even bounce? I know. Yo, B. Luke, bro, the Bounce Back Podcast. Jay Trimmins, Mort Beasy, Math, Exit Fame, Kiki Banks, Ace the General, Mikey and Grace, bro. I love you guys. You're my brothers, bro. I love you.
Okay, we're going to go back to with respect until tomorrow. We're out.